Welcome to The Explainer. So, what's the biggest thing happening in shopping right now? Well, it's kind of funny because it has almost nothing to do with buying and everything to do with trying. You know, from that little free sample you grab at the grocery store to a whole box of clothes showing up at your door to try on. We're living in what's being called the trial economy, and today we're going to dig into what that actually means for all of us.
So yeah, is trying really the new buying? That's the question on the table. We're going to unpack how this whole try first thing is completely flipping the script on retail. We'll look at who's really benefiting from it, and maybe more importantly, what are the hidden costs? Not just for the businesses, but for you and me too.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about the lure of free. Then we'll get into what the trial economy actually is. After that, the psychology of why it works so well. Then we'll cover the hidden costs and risks. And finally, we'll look at trust, which is really the currency that makes this whole thing go. Let's dive right in with something everyone loves, free stuff.
Okay, let's kick things off with a scene I'm pretty sure you're familiar with. Just picture it. You're walking through a store, and there it is, someone offering you a tiny little paper cup with something delicious inside.
I mean, it's pretty genius, isn't it? You walk into a warehouse store feeling a little hungry, and you walk out, well, surprisingly full. Or maybe you're at a market, you try a little sample of tea, and next thing you know, a whole bag of it is in your cart. But here's the thing. These aren't just nice little gestures. Nope. They're actually the most visible part of a huge underlying strategy in retail.
So this brings us to the big idea. What exactly is this trial economy? Well, at its core, it's really about changing the entire way we think about shopping. It's about turning a gamble into an invitation.
So instead of businesses asking you to put your money down first, they're basically saying, hey, just try it. Let the product do the talking. They're taking what always felt like a bit of a financial risk for us and turning it into this friendly, no-pressure invitation. The bet they're making is that if you have a good experience, you're naturally going to want to buy it.
Okay, and we've got to make a really important distinction here. A true try-before-you-buy service is when you get the product with zero money down, you actually get to experience it, and then you decide if you want to pay. This is completely different from just a generous return policy, right? That's where you pay full price up front, and if you don't like it, you got to go through the hassle of getting your money back.
And once you start looking for it, you see this model absolutely everywhere. It's the free food tastings, yeah, but it's also those little trial-sized skincare products or a free demo class at a gym. They know that if you love it, you're more likely to sign up. And online, man, it has just exploded. We're talking about those try-at-home clothing boxes, or even these little mini versions of super expensive luxury goods, giving you a taste of the good life for just a few bucks.
All right, so we get what it is. But the real question is, why does this work so well? I mean, what's going on in our heads that makes this strategy so effective? Let's dive into the psychology of the sale.
You know, this quote from Benjamin Davis, the CEO of Try Now, just hits the nail on the head. He says, customers don't want to pay in the face of doubt. Just think about that for a second. That doubt, that hesitation, it's like a giant wall that stops a sale. So what does this model do? It just tears down the wall by taking away the risk.
And this is how that plays out in the world of e-commerce. It's designed to be completely seamless. You browse online, you add a bunch of stuff to your cart, and it all shows up at your house with no charge. You get, say, a week to try it all on. Then you decide what you want to keep, send the rest back, and only then do you get charged for what you kept. It's literally bringing the fitting room into your living room.
Isn't that fascinating? Experts are saying that try before you buy is often a way better tool for getting a sale than just a plain old discount. Think about that. Giving you the experience for free can be more powerful than just making it cheaper. It's this incredible psychological move that gets us to lower our guard and start building trust with the brand, all before a single dollar has changed hands.
Okay, but it can't all be sunshine and rainbows, right? As the saying goes, there's no such thing as a free lunch. This convenience has to have a cost somewhere. So now, let's pull back the curtain and look at the hidden costs and the risks.
Okay, get ready for this number, because it's a big one. According to one report, a staggering 87% of shoppers who use these try-at-home services, they end up sending back the majority of what they ordered. 87%.
And for businesses, that is a huge problem. I mean, just think about the logistics alone. All the handling, the packaging, the restocking of all those returns, it costs a ton of money. In fact, 44% of retailers say that the cost of returns is seriously hurting their profits.
And that's not even counting lost revenue from things like wardrobing, where someone wears an outfit and then returns it, or the reputational damage when a bad free sample leads to a bunch of negative reviews. It all adds up big time.
But hey, the risk isn't just on the business side. For us consumers, there are pitfalls too. You could get a sample of something and love it, but then the full-size product you buy is different, lower quality, maybe. Or you take that amazing free demo class, sign up, and find out the regular instructor isn't nearly as good. You also have to watch out for counterfeit or expired samples from shady sellers, and sometimes companies might use this model to offload flawed items they just want to get rid of.
So if there are all these risks for both the buyer and the seller, you have to wonder, what's holding this whole thing together? How does it even work?
Well, at the end of the day, it all comes down to one simple but really powerful word: trust. It has to be a two-way street. We, the consumers, have to trust that the product quality is real and that making a return won't be a nightmare. And on the flip side, the merchant has to trust that we're going to pay for what we keep and not try to game the system. If that mutual trust breaks down, the whole model just collapses.
And it's important to remember, this isn't some lawless Wild West of retail. There are still rules in place. Consumer protection laws still apply. A business can't knowingly give you a flawed sample without telling you, and they absolutely cannot require you to leave a good review in exchange for something. Your rights as a consumer are still protected here.
So when you take a step back and look at the whole picture, it's pretty clear. In this economy built on trials, it's not really the products that are being tested, it's us. It's a test of the integrity of the businesses for sure, but it's also a test of the fairness of us, the consumers. Which leaves us with this final question to think about. In an economy built on trials, who is truly being tested?